Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. Recently, I have run across several situations where I've happened along people that really have a problem with definitions. They either don't like what the definition says, or they totally ignore it and try to go with their own made-up version of a definition, or they simply defy all logic and definition at the same time. It's really funny. So I wrote to Harry. You know, we've had a falling out, the bromance is gone, but he still did respond to me. I wrote to him on his video, and I said, you know, this auto level thing you're talking about, what you ought to do is you ought to do an experiment where you go and you take your auto level and you take a picture 5 feet off the water, make sure the auto level is set, everything's right. Then you go to the Sydney Tower. From the observation deck of that, you make the same observation. And you'll see that the horizon falls. You're being fooled. Your body just naturally looks down to the horizon, so this flat Earth explanation that the horizon rises to the level of your eyesight, this will show you that that's wrong. I just said, here's a simple, honest, straightforward experiment. You just go to the top of the Sydney Tower. You know, it's 1,000 feet high. I don't know where the observation deck is, but, you know, 800 feet or something like that. And just see the difference. And it'll show you that the horizon has fallen away because the machine won't instinctively look down like humans do. I was explaining this to him, and then he goes, where is your citation for the appropriate use of auto levels in the way you Globers are presenting your argument? And I'm like, oh man, you know, he's using words that aren't really what he thinks that he's using. And let me explain what I'm talking about. So I told him, I said, you know, what you're talking about here is, well, there's three things where you're tripping up. Number one, your question intimates or hints that a citation doesn't exist. You know, I can't cite any information. And I understand to a point citations on the internet, because everybody says stuff, and you know, you need to kind of prove things, you know. But this requesting for citations in some instances is just silly. It's just nutty. So when I was going through this, I said, you know, basically you're hinting that a citation doesn't exist, and you're also saying that such an experiment would not be a, air quotes, appropriate use of the tool, that a flat earther, the big thing, a flat earther would actually accept data from a tool specifically designed to detect curvature? I mean, come on now. It's never happened. It's never going to happen. A flat earther will always say, well, of course it's going to find curvature. It's designed to do that. So as we're going along here, I just said, you know, think about it. You've seen those life hack videos where somebody takes something and repurposes it and makes it into something else. Taking a tennis ball, is it really meant to be cut up and stuck on the end of a crutches or a walker? No. But that stops slippage. It helps save people from getting hurt worse. It is an appropriate use of a tennis ball. No, the tennis ball wasn't specifically designed to do that, but I had to give Harry a little help in understanding what the words were that he was using. Because as you look at this, what does the word appropriate mean? Here's my citation. The definition of appropriate. Appropriate is suitable or proper in the circumstances. Okay? There's many different ways that something, it may not be the natural or the specific use of the item, but it is appropriate in the circumstances. What Harry was trying to say was, he was trying to say it was being used incorrectly and improperly and outside of its actual function. I don't know if I can argue that or not, but that's not what he said. He said, where is it appropriate? Well, it's always appropriate, because in the circumstances, it would be totally appropriate to use an auto level tool to see if the horizon falls. I've seen it on videos, and I mentioned it, and lo and behold, Gary, I hope I'm saying this right because it's a cool name, Gary Waibenga. Ooh, sounds like Mufasa. Waibenga. Anyway, Gary, I've seen his videos. I commented on him. He's never talked back to me, and then all of a sudden he's got to throw his 2 cents in here. I'm like, okay, great. And he says the horizon doesn't drop. It goes back to the standard flat Earth explanation of things. And I'm like, hey, thanks for commenting, man. I've written on your videos, and you've never said diddly to me, and so I appreciate you saying something here, even if it's wrong. And so we get chatting away, and we talk about stuff, and then I finally, and he talks, the fisheye argument. So I have to explain to Gary Waibenga, for whatever reason, fisheye lens does not distort towards the center. It distorts above and below the center line. It bends things up above the center line. Below the center line, it bends things down, but right at the center, I made a video that shows that curvature and stuff. I called it Boom 2 minutes. I was challenged by a flat earther to use one of his videos and prove curvature. I did. And Gary Waibenga sits here, and we go on and on. Then he goes into he starts in one of his things. He talks about the newest holy grail of flat Earth, angular resolution. And I knew that Gary didn't know what angular resolution really is. I knew he was going to use his own made-up version of whatever it is, or go with the standard flat Earth made-up version of what they think it is. They're trying to get a new connotation of what it means instead of the denotation, what the actual definition of angular resolution is. And I explained this. I just told Gary, look, your definition of angular resolution is not in any dictionary and encyclopedia. What is his definition? His definition is that when his camera was moved to the ground, he had a video link to where a bunch of cows are eating or something, and he moves his camera down to the ground, and he said, see, because of the angular resolution, I can't see this, this, and this. And the angular resolution, he says it means that the angle for the light to travel from the object to his camera was too narrow, so he couldn't see what was going on there. That is not what angular resolution means. He's trying to create his own definition for the words angular resolution. And so I had to go to, believe it of all things, the dictionary to show him what angular resolution means. So I go angular resolution, and now I put my own spin on it. It's simply the ability of the observing device, whether it's an eye, a camera, a telescope, a radio telescope, whatever observing device you're using, it's the ability of that device to differentiate fine details of what they're observing. If they're looking at 3 trees and it's all one blob, looks like one tree, the angular resolution of whatever you're using isn't sufficient to separate those images out and go, oh wait, there's 3 of them there, instead of just one big blob. And then I give him the web results from, of all things, the dictionary. I even go to Britannica.com and said, here's this baby, and just say again, has nothing to do with what you're making up. End of story. You've made up a definition, connotation of angular resolution, which is not anywhere close to what it is. When you move your camera angle down, the light is at the wrong angle and you can't see what's beyond the horizon. They're trying to discount curvature by making up this fake definition of angular resolution. Well, 2 things. When I took my film at Bear Lake, and at 5 feet I could not see a 55-foot tall building that was 16 miles away, yet when I raise up to 25 feet, boom, the whole building is visible. Moving vertically has nothing to do with angular resolution. When my P900 was 5 feet off the surface of the water and focused in where the building should be, the horizon was in my way because it bulged up. The curvature was there. Yet the building, it had disappeared, but the mountains beyond it were still observable. They were still distinguishable. I could still resolved the fine details of the mountains that were 10 miles further than the building and the trees located near the building. When I moved vertically, the building came back into view, but that has nothing to do with angular resolution, especially since I could still resolve with my camera the fine details of something that was even further away than the building. The mountains were 25 miles away from me, the building was only 16, yet when I moved down to 5 feet off the water, the building disappeared. Absolutely nothing to do with angular resolution, because fine details of things beyond the building could still be resolved. So, when we go through that, his made-up definitions of it. But he's not the only one that had made up definitions of something. And, of course, since I made that comment, crickets, I haven't heard anything Gary again. And I wanted to tell Gary, hey, you need to do an experiment where he lines up some stuff along a floor. And when he lines those things up on the floor, they're all the same height, they're marked in a certain way, and he moves around and he said, this is what's going on. As you look farther away, this is what happened. And I said, man, your experiment, number one, it's not to scale. Number two, it's not even long enough. You need to get out 55 feet away from you and put markers every 7 inches. And then take your picture on, say, an ice skating rink. Then do the same thing on the back of a flatbed semi-truck trailer. They're 55 feet long, they have a slight curve to them, and then you need to compare your pictures of what's going on side by side, the one with the flat surface like the ice skating rink, the one with the curved surface like the flatbed trailer, and see which one looks more like the picture of the towers over Lake Pontchartrain. And I can guarantee you it's going to be the flatbed trailer, because there's a slight curve to it, just like slight curve to the earth on Lake Pontchartrain. He's not going to do that. To test out his definition of angular resolution, go to the ice skating rink, put a pink golf ball on the other side of the ice skating rink and film it from 1 foot high, then half a foot high, then 2 inches high, then 1 inch high, and see if you're still able to see the pink golf ball on the other side. And of course you'll be able to. His definition of angular resolution is a hoax. It's wrong. Well, I wish it would happen, but it's not going to happen. Now, as I talk to these two people, now they've gone dead silent again, because unfortunately I know something about words. Not great. I mean, in high school I was, while other people were taking ornamental horticulture and they were taking homemaking classes or basket weaving or ping pong or whatever, I was taking calculus, physics. I had English, I had chemistry as well. But anyway, I digress. What's funny is, these things that people send to you on Facebook? I once had a friend of the family that, what was she, a licensed therapist or something, and I think she teaches in one of these colleges, like, not the Phoenix one or whatever, but something else. Anyway, she teaches college classes and that. She sent me a link to a vocabulary quiz. Said, hey, I scored this much. What did you score? Well, I scored 200 more points than her, so she never sent me another one of those links. I'm not great, though. But I know the usage they're trying to use these in, the connotations they are trying to throw at us, are they're not even real. Angular resolution is not what Gary Waibenga is trying to put out. And so now Harry's gone back not to talking to me, and so is Gary. And I have other side stuff, like other people have definition problems. I talked to a gentleman about other stuff, and it just so happened that the word atheism came up, and I said, atheism is a religion. It's being redefined by society, kind of like the word wench used to mean a comely, attractive, desirable woman. Now, not so much. And he's always trying to go back to the original definition of atheism. And I said, if you call some woman a wench nowadays, it ain't going to turn out well. It's not going to be pretty. And you can try all you want to say, look, I'm talking about the definition from the 1300s. It's still not going to go over well. So atheism, he wanted to point out atheism and its definition, and he always wants to go with a particular system of faith and worship, and I said, well, wait a minute. A pursuit or interest which someone ascribes supreme importance is also a definition of religion. And he always wants to go with number one here, where it says it's the service or worship of a god or something. And I said, well, wait a minute. It's also a system or set of religious attitudes, beliefs, and way of doing things. Atheism is that. Or a cause, a principle, or a system of beliefs held with faith and strong feeling, and atheism is that. And they try to say, no, we just don't believe. I'm like, oh, come on, you hold meetings in atheist megachurches, you have rallies, you have political action committees. If it was just a case of, nah, I don't believe that, it's different. Here's a definition of religion from Merriam-Webster was used. And he always wants to go with number one, A lack or belief or a strong disbelief in the existence of a god or gods. That's what atheism is to him. And I said, well, wait a minute. It's a philosophical or religious position. And he's like, no, it's just we don't believe you. I said, it's more than we don't believe you. Maybe 1,000 years ago, it was, I just don't believe you, have a good day. It's gotten quite a bit different, and society is describing it different. As a matter of fact, we got into a discussion about how in 2013, a woman and her organization were both granted exemption from paying taxes. And she sued the IRS because she was given that exemption. She sued the IRS saying, you gave this to me because I'm a religious organization, and you gave it to my organization because it's a religious organization, and you gave it to me because I'm the minister of that organization. And she frickin' threw a fit. So I'm like, what? Yeah. And she was saying, we want to be treated equally. Oh, okay. You want to be treated like a religion? Yes. But you're not a religion. Oh, no. We're not a religion. Then why do you want to be treated like a religion? Well, we want tax exemption status. Okay, here you go. And then she throws a fit. No, I don't want it that way. So the freedom from religion, sorry. I was going to say freedom from information, but I digress. The Freedom from Religion Foundation was granted as a charitable organization a tax exempt status, and they said, no, we don't like that because we have to report stuff differently than religious organizations do. We want to be treated the same as a religious organization. And again, I can see the IRS commissioner saying, so you want to be treated like a religion, but you're not a religion. Is that right? Yes. Why? It doesn't make sense. You want to be treated just like you were a religion, and we're happy to do it, but we got sued for doing it. We tried to go down that path, and somebody kicked our teeth and said, no, we don't. I'm just speaking from the IRS's point of view. But they go, you want to be treated the same as a religion. You don't want to have to report this. You don't want to have to fill out a Form 990. You want it done this way, like it's done for a religion. But you don't want to be considered a religion. You want to be considered a charitable organization, but you don't want to go by the charitable organization rules. You want to go by the religious rules. Am I got that? And atheism. This is supposed to be a logic, critical thinking, and deductive reasoning group, societal congregation thing, right? You want to be treated like a religion. You want to get the same privileges as a religion, but you don't want to be a religion. You want to be given the same privileges that, say, a charitable organization would be, but you don't want to be considered a charitable organization and abide by those rules. We tried to give you what is right and proper, the religious organization, not deduction, but exemption, and you wouldn't have any part of that. So we give you the charitable organization exemption. No, you don't like that because you're not treated like a religion. We tried to treat you like a religion, and you crapped your pants. So, what is it? It reminded me, and I mentioned this to the gentleman about vegans. With a vegan, eating meat is abhorrent. They don't want to even associate, they don't want to do milk, they don't want to do, nothing. They are vegan, okay? And they treat it like a religion, but I digress. It was, they go nuts. But anyway, so what do they have? What is it, the Ultimate Whopper or something like that in Burger King that looks, smells, tastes like meat, supposedly? Okay, vegans abhor eating meat because it represents being cruel to animals. It does this, it does that. But of course, they want their food to smell, taste, look like meat, look like they're eating meat. Does that make any sense to you? I mean, what in the crap is that? That's like somebody saying, I am opposed to cannibalism, but make my food look like I'm eating a human being. Make it look like I've just slaughtered a human being, but I am totally opposed to it. It's abhorrent. It's disgusting. No cannibalism anywhere. But I'll tell you what, make my food look like a human. Make it look like I've just slaughtered my brother-in-law and I'm eating him. It doesn't make any sense. Atheism, they want to be treated like they're not a religion, yet they act like a religion. They do everything. And so I just told this guy, I said, we can't have this discussion because I am not going to pander to mental illness. That's a problem. The whole thing boils down to, we have pandered to mental illness for so long that people who are mentally ill expect to be treated as if they were perfectly normal. And we have to do that. We have to pander to it. And that's another road I could go down. But for me, a vegan who, your body needs meat, it needs the nutrients, it needs the vitamins, it needs the protein. I mean, you have to eat 9 cups of broccoli to equal the vitamin B12 in 2 ounces of steak. Your body, and I could be funny and say, hey, that's why God designed it, but your body needs certain nutrients in a certain amount and a certain fashion to stay healthy, and being vegan is the worst thing you can do for that. If you don't take in vitamin C, you get scurvy. If you don't take vitamin D, you get rickets. If you don't take vitamin B12, I don't know if they've named it. It might have a name. I don't know. But the important thing is if you have a problem with the definition, stop trying to make up your own. Gary Weibinger. Don't make up your own definition of what angular resolution means. Harry, don't make up your own definition of what is appropriate. Because guess what? It is an appropriate use of the tool. Well, happy Father's Day to everybody. I'm done. This is too silly to have people creating their own definitions and getting upset at the real definitions of what's going on. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Productions MJC.